head, and there he goes. Abyss gonna clean him up.
Olaf goes down. Everyone's just gonna line up here for Lazzy. He's gonna find himself the Quadra. Give it to him. Pentakill.
Priestley with the quad feed.
Gets the ace. Available, just spin to win all over.
That game was insane.
Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Here, welcome back to the Saints Gaming CA Twitch channel. Of course, your home for all things Saints, or St. Clair Saints Varsity Esports. And of course, we have ourselves a fantastic night ahead of us here. A little bit of a later one, but thank you for tuning in nonetheless, as we have our first glimpse of our new League of Legends roster here in the Dreamhack Beyond Collegiate Invitational, as our St. Clair Saints are going to be going up against a squad from Stonybrook Esports out of Stonybrook University. My name's Dan Banner, also known as Mr. Danner, is going to be your host and producer here for tonight's match at hand. Just a matter of time before we get on into the matchup. It took us a little bit longer to get into the swing of things. Definitely do apologize for the delay, but nonetheless, we're just about to get ready. And as we are looking at, we have ourselves a quick second here, why don't we talk about the new rosters here, because this is going to be a little bit weird for old St. Clair College fans, because this, of course, brand new roster, no returning players from the past seasons that you would have seen here on the Saints channel. Of course, now, as we list them off here, we do have, starting from the top, we have Eric Moffitt. That's going to be Jorge Masvidal. I am going to have a mouthful with that name all day. We have David Peterkin. That's E-Thug. We have Felix Blaze, also known as EDG Scout. We have Regan Davis, also known as Fresh. And then we have Charles Barlow Basilian down in the bot lane as well. So a bunch of new people. I'm a little bit dark today. Don't mind me about that, but brand new squad coming out here, and I mean the recruitment from this from Atmosphere and the rest of the things have been doing absolutely crazy over the summer, just trying to get in a fresh new squad here, all very high rated individually, but how they play in the competitive team environment is going to be a completely different story, more than likely, or they'll just absolutely prove me wrong, because of course this is the first non-scrim match that they've had together. Of course they've been practicing for quite a while nonetheless, but first time there's something on the line here, this Dreamhack Beyond Invitational, to kind of go over a little bit what we're playing here for tonight. So basically, there's 8 teams invited into this, of course us being one of them, then split up into groups of 4, and we'll be playing everybody once throughout this week, with the finals then being on Saturday and Sunday. But without further ado, it looks like we're going to hop on in to the pro draft and see what our lineup is going to look like here for game number 1. Of course, this meta is going to look completely different since the last time I've hopped on the Summoner's Rift myself, as we have ourselves our first bands coming on through. On the side of Stonybrook, they do not want Ziggs, they don't want Jax, so don't want Sims out either. So we have some hard engage alongside some wave clear and poke. You know, on the side of St. Clair, getting rid of the Tom Kench, Echo, and Viego, all characters that could definitely go in if they wish. I know Tom Kench got himself a little bit of a rework as of late as well. Saints not wanting to deal with that. With Stonybrook being on the blue side, they're going to get the pick first, and this is one thing that when talking to Coach Blaze and Coach Yuri earlier in the afternoon, he's like, expect to see Diana first picked every single time on the blue side, and then from there on out, there is a wombo combo that can definitely be used. Trying to see exactly who that was with. I'm going to try and get that information very shortly, but nonetheless, on the side of St. Clair, one way to try and stop a wombo combo is a Kindred. Being able to pop that ultimate and keep everybody alive, even if it's at a sliver of health, can definitely make or break a team fight. Meanwhile, going to bring a little bit of safety and a little bit of support and poke in the side of a Lulu as well here. Back on over to Stonybrook, we see the set, especially, or we're just talking about characters that like to go in, and Set also being rather tanky as well, loves to brawl, so being able to go in there first, maybe even follow up with Diana could definitely be something we see throughout the night. one more pick on the side of SBU, and it's actually Yasuo that's technically the Wombo combo from what I understand here. But we're not going to see that just yet. We're going to see the Callista, so as if Saints didn't have enough characters that want to dive in, Callista's ultimate being able to just completely pick up a teammate and throw them into the fight is going to be another thing that the Saints are now going to have to worry about. Saints, however, now get their third pick before we get into the second phase of banning. So, get to see in just a moment here what they want to answer this relatively in-your-face composition. How about a little bit of poke? Going to be bringing out the virus here, of course. Basically, nobody better in terms of long-range AD carry poking, so fair enough there. In terms of banning, of course, with Stonybrook basically being the in-your-face composition as of right now, pick off another champion that very well might fill that role as well. Galio going to get taken off the board, especially since he can basically dive you from halfway across the map, so a fair ban on the side of St. Clair. As of right now, like, Saints don't necessarily have a real theme to them, I feel like. Like, Kindred, okay, sure, that's going to stop any sort of diving. Lulu, okay, that's safety. Okay, Virus, you got poke. But there isn't really much of a theme here as of this moment. So banning-wise for SBU, it is going to be the Aatrox taken off. Going to take a shot at Jorge's top lane champion pool. Meanwhile, on the side of St. Clair, another hard engage in your face support. Going to take the Leona off the board. One more ban on the side of SBU, and we could start filling these teams out here. Stonybrook's, of course, like I was saying before, relatively scary composition, especially with some of these squishy targets. If they have no peel, they will absolutely explode with the way this is lining up right now. Final ban is going to, I believe that was a Lucian before it did get blacked out. We are going to get the confirmation here in the lobby chat in just a second. But I believe that was that was actually a Nautilus ban, so it was a last second switch, and unfortunately the pro draft kind of crashed on us. So Nautilus going to be taken off the board. One of the hook supports with being rather tanky as well. Start kind of closing out these team compositions. It's going to be Mordekaiser more than likely up in the top lane there for Jorge. Now going back on over, SBU gets to finish up their lineup, and then Saints get one more possible counter pick. If Stonybrook did want to go for this Yasuo Diana composition, it is on the table. That being said, though, it's looking like a possible Urgot pick. Maybe up in the top lane, maybe somewhere else. We'll have to see. Urgot is going to be locked in. That's going to keep things nice and interesting here. One more pick on the side of Stonybrook. Twisted Fate being hovered, of course, another one of those characters that could dive on in if necessary. Going to actually pick up the Swain here. A little bit interesting. Definitely likes to be in your face as well. And then St. Clair going to round things up with a Silas. So team composition is being shown. We'll get to see momentarily in the secondary draft phase exactly who is playing which. We can have our assumptions, but we'll have to get the confirmation very, very shortly. Introduce our opponents here on the side of Stonybrook University. We do have Clammy Boy up in the top lane. We have Whisperance in the jungle. We have Sniff Ninja in the mid lane. And down bottom we have Yanni as your AD carry player and Dinosaur as your support. Comparing ranks across both, as of right now, I would give Saints the slightest of edges. But if there's one thing that I have seen time and time again, individual rank, of course, does not mean the end-all, be-all here in these matchups. It does look like we are going to be switching on over to the actual in Game 1, so we'll get to see specifically where everybody will be picked up. So it's going to be roughly the same kind of process here, but we're just going to see the aftermath as well with regards to where everybody is playing. Definitely a little bit interesting, though, at least on my not unexperienced, but not necessarily maybe 100% up to the exact terms of the meta right here, right now. But as I see it right here, SBU does not have a traditional support as of this moment. So I'm curious to see who Dinosaur will be picking up here for the support. Meanwhile, we are going to see Clammy Boy up there in the top lane on the Urgot to take care of Jorge up at Mordekaiser. The Diana is going to be played by Whisperance in the jungle. Kindred, of course, going to be played by Ethug. Silas going to be played by Scouts in the mid lane. No surprise there. Sniff Ninja going to be picking up the Swain. Just rounding out these bands once again. We know Saints composition is not necessarily too hard to figure out. We're going to see Barlow going to be picking up the AD carrier role here with that virus. Then it's just a matter of who's the support on the side. Is maybe a support set? I guess support set, yeah, never mind. The support set's kind of been a thing for a little while now, hasn't it? Keep forgetting it, and sure enough, paired up with the Kalista and being able to throw a set directly into the face of everybody, that definitely makes sense in my book. And then Fresh, of course, going to be picking up the Lulu. So our teams are here, they are ready, and we are going to get to see our first glimpse, of course, of our Saints roster in action versus Stonybrook. Definitely looking forward here to this one. Unfortunately, don't necessarily have the most amount of background information on this Stonybrook squad, how long they've been playing together, or if this is a relatively new or experienced team. It's kind of hard to make some predictions here, but I will say this. Saints definitely have to watch out for picks, to say the least here. Guys, Diana jumping on in can absolutely, with a little bit of backup, just blow up anybody on the Saints roster, with the exception of maybe Mordekaiser. Yes, there is Kindred to try and stop that, but you have to worry about first getting level 6 and then also being in the right position to actually make the stop. So may have the tools, but it does not guarantee that you are going to be able to block that out. So without further ado, got ourselves a little bit of a wait here before we hop into the matchup. Of course, 3-minute delay on the match itself, and then for you at home here, we're also on an additional 2-minute delay on the request of Dreamhack Beyond's rule set. So what you may see a moment ago, I may not respond to as quickly in chat because I might have around that delay and whatnot. So that is what it is there. But definitely going to be excited. We see everybody pouring in out here already. I love to see the support here for this League of Legends squad. Thank you all for tuning in, and cannot wait to get into action. Taking a look at some additional stats here for both these guys. I'm curious to see how this the Silas versus Swain matchup is going to end up here for the side of St. Clair. I know Silas has a little bit of poke, but overall kind of a little bit of an in-your-face kind of champion. Will it get poked out by Swain? Probably not, I would assume, if Scout is going to ask to get the Silas picked up. Or excuse me, let's rephrase that a second there. Swain was picked prior to the Silas getting picked up here, so this was specifically a counter pick from Scout in this situation, unless they were specifically going for a team composition. But that being said, though, Silas being able to steal an ultimate on the opposing side, or basically getting to choose which ultimate of anybody who was close by, must have something in mind. And of course, Swain being able to go into his ultimate form, that transformation form, and be super tanky, Silas probably wants a little bit of that as well, so makes sense nonetheless. Get a little bit tanky while also being able to do a ton of damage. Now, one thing before we do hop into the swing of things, of course, is give a couple shout-outs to, of course, everybody for tuning in and supporting already, but of course to the sponsors as well. We do, of course, the St. Clair College Alumni Association, St. Clair's SRC, Tim Hortons, Subway, Zeckelman School of Business and Information Technology, and of course St. Clair College itself. Thank you all for making this possible here for the St. Clair Saints Varsity Esports team. I don't know about you, but I am itching to get right back on the Rift. We are about 30 seconds away and just got to load on in before we get into the action right away. Everybody is good, and we'll be hopping into things just momentarily. Just bear with me just a tiny bit more here. Just kind of, I guess, kind of reiterate real quick then, just the fact that this Saints roster is going to kind of be on a knife's edge unless they can. If they group up relatively early, they might be kind of safe. But I feel like when it gets to the ganks and it gets to the late game, they're gonna have to have their warding. They're gonna have to have their vision and like play around those objectives. Like really have to tiptoe through it. Otherwise, it could be a bad time. There's so much engage, so much burst damage. Not necessarily a press R and go kind of composition, but close enough to still get the job done. As we hear in the background, enough of me blabbering. It is time for our little League of Legends action here. For the first time in the summer of 2021, we get to see our team in action. Let's get into it. Getting baited by my overlay just a second here. There we go. We're back into the action. On the red side, of course, it will be our Saints. On the blue side, it is going to be Stonybrook Esports. Relatively calm starts to get this first game off. Nobody wants to pull the trigger on anything kind of crazy as of this moment. Just going to get that line of scrimmage set up. No positions for lane swaps or anything like that, so should be a relatively calm and quiet beginning here.
Minions have spawned.
In terms of starting positions for the junglers, looks like it's going to be Whisper starting over on the red side of things, or on the by the red buff rather, and then on the blue side it is going to be Ethug. Ethug. Only been a couple minutes on Marty. Choking over my words here. We have ourselves a long one here today. Of course, best of 3 action. Very excited nonetheless. We can finally get this first lane phase underway and get into the action. This is kind of what I was worried about a little bit here for Scout. Of course, the range from Sniff Ninja's Swain is going to be able to kind of outrange him for majority of the time, but at the same time, though, of course, Scout does have those chains, does get himself a little bit of extra range, so and kind of poke back. Down bot lane, I feel like the Saints should be able to poke out Dinosaur and Yanni at least for the first couple of levels, till Dinosaur does get the second ability that does have the shield on top of it, so like Set could get aggressive, but with the way that the Saints are kind of zoning them off, they're going to get themselves level 2 first, more than likely. So we do see Fresh and Barlow going to get themselves level 2. And now Dinosaur and Yanni still kind of stuck at level 1. Now that it's in the tower, they should be able to level up quite quickly. Scout going to get himself a little bit poked for his troubles, however. Already down to half health, so that Swain counterpick, at least as of right now, not necessarily looking up to snuff, but there could, of course, still be a massive change as the levels go on. Then Clammy and Jorge up here, rather quiet as of right now. Scout trying to get some more damage in, but every opportunity seems to be getting a little bit of poke. Jorge and Eva trying to get themselves a kill on the Clammy boy. We're blowing flashes for this one, and we are going to get it. Jorge Masvidal, first blood. Now that's the kind of start you want to see here for the Saints. Get the momentum going. We see Scout. We're back onto Ninja, and Fresh is here as well. Will they try to dive tower? Fresh is actually going to dive on in, but he's going to be going right into a teleporting member. Clammy boy may have died, but he is right back. And you know what? Saints are just going to turn this again. Ehug is here alongside Jorge, but there is also Dinosaur. Dinosaur comes on in. Whisper is going to take care of Scout. Have to watch out. Ehug gets taken down as well. Jorge is extremely low as well. And with 4 members here, Jorge is going to go down. And Clammy is going to go down for a second time, though. So Jorge is going to get one back. But an overall, over that last minute or so, I believe that was a 2 for 4 in the... Or rather a 4 for 4. So I guess we're kind of back up to the swing of things. Right back up to snuff. Right back to even. 2 of those kills going on to Sniff Ninja's Swain as well. Definitely a worst case scenario here for Scout. He's probably going to be needing some help. Never mind, actually. He's just did so much damage. He did get to go back and get items. Fresh is here, and the Flash is going to get the elimination, as that's going to be Ehug coming through. He's going to get himself a double kill. We have a brawly start to this one here in the mid lane. This is Summer's Rift, not an ARAM, but everybody is still absolutely just brawling away, and we're still not done. We're in the river. Dinosaur's getting extremely low. Good chains here from Scout. Probably going to finish the job. Sure enough, going to get one of those kills back. Does have 4 assists on himself as well, and how about another one? Ehug has 4 kills already in this first couple minutes. 4 kills in 5 minutes, beautifully done. In the meantime, Barlow and Yanni still just kind of battling out down the bot lane, but the extra extended range here for Barlow is really poking out at Yanni. Yanni can try to fight back. We do see the spear coming in and doing a little bit of damage back and forth, but overall, Barlow gonna probably run out of his mana quicker, but at the same time, does have the range advantage for at least the time being. Barlow going to have to be careful, however. We do see down bottom of our minimap here, we do have Whisperance really close by. Dinosaur still down there, still level 3. All that brawling really threw off a lot of the leveling here for some of the members on the side of Stonybrook, but we now do see Thug making another trip up to the top lane. Clammy Boy does not have a flash yet. Just going to pass that one over. That's going to be kill number 5 for Ehug. Now we see Dinosaur flashing on in, but right there, Fresh doing exactly what he needs to do. The Polymorph alongside the Slow is actually making it so that Barlow's been able to turn onto Yanni. He's going to get the 1 kill for sure. Dinosaur's only level 3 and is probably going to go down as well. Just one more shot. Looking to try and get the snipe. Fresh is probably going to have to secure this one. Scout finds a solo kill in the mid lane, and we do see it Fresh ending up with the elimination. Whisperance is here, level 5. No ultimate on deck yet, so can't really do anything. Just going to kind of force to mess with the wave a little bit, and that's actually a little bit brave there from Whisperance. Maybe hoping to maybe snag level 6 and then get the ult and just try to dive 1v2. Would have been a little bit overzealous, but may have been on their mind nonetheless. And Saints, after what seemed to be a very close start, but a very brawly start, have absolutely just won this early game if they can keep this up. That being said, though, Barlow, he's just in a world of hurt here. He's going to try and answer back with Yanni, but Yanni is going to keep himself alive. So Fresh and try and make it back to tower, getting a little bit feisty, but is not going to be in range of anything from Whisperance. Was not level 6 yet, so just getting 6 now. Ehug finds Sniff Ninja. He's forced to pop the ultimate just to survive. That's going to be a long cooldown taken off the field, which could be critical if the Saints opt to look for maybe a dragon sometime soon here, after going back and getting themselves a bunch of items, because we know that right now Ehug, with that 5 eliminations and 3 assists, they are absolutely killing it here. Fresh, however, is going to get taken down. A nice little setup there from the squad over at Stonybrook. Ehug on the offensive, trying to get some counter jungling in, but that being said, he's got to be careful. He is still basically, he's squishy, still like a jungle AD carry. As fed as you are, you're going to get squished on. And we do see Scout at least going to answer with 1, but can they keep Ehug alive? He's going to pump the ultimate, keeping everybody in it alive for just a bit more. And nice little play there from Whisperance, actually waiting until that ultimate does wear out. Flashes on in, blows up Ehug, getting some solid shutdown gold too. So Saints maybe getting a little bit overzealous after having such a fantastic lead. I mean, they're still definitely in the lead. They have over 3K right now onto this on the Stonybrook Esports squad, but they've definitely kind of clawed themselves back a little bit. And Saints haven't gotten themselves any dragons, and I don't know if it's just a team stylistic difference or not. But I know that the Saints varsity squad of old would have definitely pressured a dragon by now, but things could have definitely changed in regards to the games played at the competitive level. I know trying to get those dragon souls is always rather critical. But I'll tell you what, as of right now, it looks like we have ourselves a bit of a tie in regards to the biggest loser with all of those brawling, or all the constant brawling. And it's basically just been either to Clammy Boy or to Yanni. Both of them having themselves a bit of a hard time. If we look up at the top lane right now, Clammy Boy, sitting there with 33 CS, is barely making ends meet here up in that top lane. Meanwhile, Jorge just absolutely smoking them, but we're going to have to see a nice little flip there. But we just see, with all that extra gold, all that extra items, there's so much damage being done. Ethug getting a little bit overzealous. He's looking for maybe one more play, going up against it. Probably wisely so. Just let Scout kind of mess around the turret. We do see him go in. Nice. Doesn't get the one, however, is going to be answered right back. And to be honest, right here, these 1-for-1s aren't necessarily a bad thing. Or in this case, possibly a 2-on-1. Never mind. Dinosaur hanging on by a thread, and the little minion there from E-Hug's character going to get the kill there. The Kindred, that's exactly what it was. The little Kindred coming in clutch. Finish the job here. And somewhere in this means of things, we have Rift Herald Shelly going to come play and absolutely demolish that mid turret. Getting that picked up, so Saints, well, maybe not necessarily getting the Dragons, have basically all the other control, and now Saints are looking towards the top lane to try and make the play. Cammy Boy trying to keep himself safe here between the turret. Does finally pop out. He's going to be able to at least delay that dive at least a little bit longer. That being said, though, Barlow kind of in a rough spot here. Whispering's on hot pursuit. At least he did not get hit by the Crescent, so he's not going to be able to get dove upon by Whisperings. Nonetheless, Dinosaur going to do a little bit of cheeky interference here up against E-Hug. Maybe a fine opportunity here to maybe take ourselves a little bit of a run through the lanes. As of right now, like we were mentioning before, top lane looking absolutely brutal here for the Saints' favor with Jorge Masvidal, of course, at 87 compared to the 40 of Clammy Boy. Clammy does have himself 3 assists, but at the same time, or 1 kill and 3 assists, but at the same time, Jorge 2 kills, 3 assists, and only the 1 death as well, just slowly run away with that lane. Meanwhile, in the jungle, E-Hug, 7 kills, 4 assists already here in this game, only going down twice. That being said, the Whisperings isn't doing bad, as we do see the Saints finally opting for that Dragon. Going to pick it up nice and quickly here. Nobody on the side of Stonybrook going to be able to kind of interfere with that. They were thinking about maybe something. They were down in that bot lane, but not going to make it happen as of this moment. Clammy Boy still kind of struggling up there. And mid lane, this lane sure flipped. At first, it looked like Stiff Ninja was actually in a pretty decent position. But now, I feel like this is kind of the tail of the tape here. Sniff Ninja, holy smokes. That is a Fed Kindred, and that just absolutely popped the birdie and took him down. That's going to be the 6th death right now for Sniff Ninja. You know he's probably having himself a rather sad time there right in the mid lane. Just wants this laning phase to be done and maybe find some tanks to hide behind. E-Hug, the battle of the two relatively fed characters. E-Hug's in between a rock and hard place though. Clammy Boy might be hurt, but he's going to try and tank things up. He is going to end up going down, however, so that's going to be kill number 9 now for E-Hug. The Saints slightly deathballing it, with the exception of Scout down towards the bot lane, just stealing buffs actually. Annie's going to spot this out, does see the buff getting taken down. But at the same time, do you really want to mess with Scout? 6 assists, 5 eliminations on himself as well, plus 100 CS. Not a champion you really want to deal with. Whisperings, he was the one member on the side of Stonybrook that was actually somewhat fed, and even Whisperings is getting absolutely popped at this point here. So you can probably see some of the life kind of draining here from the Stonybrook Esports squad, just waiting for game number 2. So we see a nice snipe coming out here from Barlow. Finish the job. Dinosaur, still level 6 actually. At least has the ultimate, but is a very squishy set at this moment. A nice little jump, though, onto Barlow. Barlow extremely low, going to have to flash away. E-Hug is here. Going to see the dodge attempt coming out here from Dinosaur. Has that shield to keep himself alive just a little bit longer. Not quite going to get out of that one alive, however. Barlow, holy smokes, by the skin of his teeth. And all of the tanks in front of them, plus the support there from Fresh, keeping him alive, and the Saints are absolutely popping off to start off their debut matchup here in this Dreamhack Collegiate Invitational. Saints have themselves a little bit of time. I mean, we're going to have ourselves one more Rift Herald. To think that we have ourselves over 32 kills already, or have 32 kills already, and it's only 14 minutes in. Just goes to show how crazy this game kind of has been, and this is an extremely long leash. Okay, never mind. I was going to say, that'd be a little bit dangerous. That buff's going to get taken away from you, probably. But no, Ehug going to take that and pass over the blue buff to his next teammate in a second. Dinosaur gets jumped upon. Sniff Ninja is there as well. Ehug does dodge Dinosaur. Nothing that Dinosaur can do. If you're in the face of a set, then you're in trouble. But if you can just keep sidestepping everything, as Ehug just did, there is not much you can do. Jorge, however, down in the bot lane, stuck with Whisperance and Yanni, trying to fight his way back, but he is going to end up going down. So that's a huge shutdown actually coming out for Yanni. Definitely needed it. Was keeping himself relatively even in regard to CS, actually completely even on CS. So even though the kills and assists aren't necessarily in his favor, he has been just keeping up with minion kills, and now finally getting a nice shutdown. In theory, if this Kalista could very well keep on going and give him maybe a possible breath of life. Just has to really be careful about not getting poked out here. Like the Saints, they're not going to dive you really. Like Mordekaiser, of course, kind of pulls you in a little bit, but he's not going to be able to just kind of jump on you. And nobody really can jump on you unless Scout wants to give it a shot, but he needs to make sure that he's relatively tanky before doing so, or just extremely fed, and he at least does have the extremely fed part of it right here. Not as fed as Ehug, however. 11 eliminations and 6 assists as of this moment. Looking absolutely crazy. What do we got? So there is no Herald anymore. Baron will be up in just under 4 minutes. We see Fresh getting jumped on. To be honest, we do see Barlow, unfortunately, whiffing that ultimate, so there is opportunity, but there's just still so much tankiness that this Stonybrook squad has to try and poke through, and it's just straight up not working. Ehug looking to charge on in. Sniff Ninja takes, oh my god, what a crit coming out here from Ehug. I swear that Swain still had half of his health left. Whisperance is just going to get straight up 1v1. Jorge Masvidal just going on an absolute tear here as well. Not the most fed, but still got the most beef on the side of the Saints. So we now see this mid inhibitor. There is no way this thing actually survives, does it? I don't see any fight that Stonybrook can make here. Try and pop off here. That being said, Jorge gets jumped on by 2. Dinosaur's relatively weak, and he's going to get completely bonked on the head by that mace. Yanni trying his best to kite, but even the queen of kiting herself, Kalista, is not going to be able to do it. Never mind, I eat my words. She absolutely popped off. Nicely done. So, close but no cigar. But that being said, Saints are literally in the base at this moment, just poking through the fountain. This one is over, but at least Yanni had the last second little pop off. Well, wasn't that destructive? I did not expect it to be as one-sided as it was. And to be fair, Stonybrook, the initial brawling at the beginning of the match wasn't necessarily going against them. But then, all of a sudden, a couple bad jumps, and the Saints got themselves right into position. I think it was like 5 to 12 at some point, and it just got absolutely snowballed. An absolutely brutal matchup. You don't usually see brawly League of Legends games like this, and especially quick ones at that. So, Stonybrook going to have to go back to the drawing board. Otherwise, they're going to start this Dreamhack Beyond Collegiate Invitational on the wrong side of the results column. But the St. Clair Saints, I mean, what do you have to change there? Just try the same composition again, unless Stonybrook does something cheeky in the picks and bans. So we'll have to see momentarily, as we're going to take ourselves a very quick break to get the lobby set up for game number 2. Thanks for tuning in. Don't go anywhere. Let's see if the Saints can find themselves a 2-0 sweep to start things off. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're about to get into game number 2 here between St. Clair College and Stonybrook University here in the Dreamhack Beyond Collegiate Invitational. After seeing game 1, Stonybrook needs to really get back to the drawing board and get back to it quickly because holy smokes, whatever they tried to do just straight up did not work. In fact, they're going to get rid of Diana right away. That's going to be their main ban change. Saint's going to keep the exact same lineup as last time, but they're actually going to steal over the Lulu. Going to take that one away from Fresh. Of course, that bot lane was probably the closest thing to an even lane for the most part in that last series. Maybe not necessarily, because maybe even in regards to CS, but eliminations-wise, definitely saw the Saints kind of run away with it a little bit, as we are going to see Karma getting picked up alongside the Kindred. We've seen E-Hug last time by on that Kindred in game 1, and he ended up with like 13 kills or something like that. And that was absolutely disgusting. So, seeing that picked up alongside the Karma, possibly getting picked up by Fresh, we'll have to see. Try and maybe match poke for poke, shield with shield, so to speak. Decent going to get picked up here from Stonybrook. That could basically go anywhere, so it doesn't necessarily say anything as of right now. See it in mid, see it top, see it jungle. It's basically all over the place, so we'll have to see. And they're going to pick up the Virus, so they're going to steal the Saints bot lane from last time by. Callista was just not necessarily working there for him. We did see him a very small pop off near the very end there for the Stonybrook AD carry, but unfortunately too little, too late. Saints now one more pick before we get ourselves into this. The next ban phase, Ashe being covered. Not necessarily the most damaging of AD carries, but definitely strong in regards to slowing and engage utility. Classic League of Legends champion here. Bans this time by, gonna get rid of the Swain, so maybe not necessarily in regards to the strength of the Swain, but maybe enough to kind of get him uncomfortable. We'll have to see momentarily there. Sniff Ninja really had himself a bad time. And this could be a spiteful counter ban here if they were able to take away Scout's Silas. Definitely effective in the last game. Sure enough, that is going to end up being the case. One more ban now on the side of St. Clair. I'd try to make a prediction, but at this point it's just like I haven't seen enough of this SBU squad to really warrant it. They did kind of hover Twisted Fate in the last game. And you know what? They're going to take another shot at the mid laner. Unfortunately there for Sniff Ninja, another one of his champions possibly gone here. Would not be surprised to see the Mordekaiser get taken down. I mean, we did see Jorge have himself a very solid game on it. Got ahead early and just straight up dominated that top lane, doubling the CS, if not more, of his opponent. So, gonna force Jorge Masvidal to go to yet another character. And Scion would definitely fit the role that he's trying to play here. Big old tanky berserker. Ready to rock the top lane there. Of course, right now, Stonybrook don't have their top laner revealed per se, unless it does end up being Lee Sin, but still not a confirm as of this moment. Of course, now Stonybrook, they have to show their hand here. They got to pick their last two champions. When in doubt, Shen top, I suppose. Always, never a bad pick, it feels like, up in the top lane. Tanky, yet utility, kind of frontline warrior there for the side of Stonybrook Esports. But now, what do they pick as either their mid laner or their jungle. Now it's going to be the Nautilus, so it's probably going to end up being the Lulu mid? Oh, we'll have to figure out together here. The Nautilus gets picked on in here, and Rel definitely would be a strong pick here for the Saints as well. Send that Karma up to maybe the mid lane or something like that instead. That might very well be the case here. A very safe but yet pokey mage here for the side of St. Clair. We're going to get to see exactly where SBU is planning on putting everything in just a moment as well. I won't lie, that draft kind of confused me a little bit there for the side of Stonybrook, but it could just be my pageant experience here coming out and biting me in the rear, but we'll have to see momentarily. That being said, hope it works here for the side of Stonybrook. It would be interesting to see a very, very quick 2-0 here today, but the Saints getting a very dominating win. But you know, if you've been around here long enough, as much as I love seeing our Saints win and do well, what I love even more is seeing close matchups. So I want to see somebody give the Saints a run for their money. And of course, we still have a whole weekend's worth of matchups here for the Saints if they keep this up. So definitely not going to be the last League of Legends match we see here this week. If we take a look, we do actually have, not only do we have champions going in different positions, we actually, unless they lined up in the wrong order here, might have some role swaps coming in. Yeah, they would have had to have lined up in the wrong order, I would assume here, because Yanni, I don't think he plays mid. But we'll go with it in just a second here. It does look like Stonybrook kind of lined up in the wrong order, so gonna do a little bit of fixer-upper once we get into the game and whatnot, but now we can actually take a look at least at the champions at play, unless this does end up being a position swap. But I would be very, very intrigued, considering like half of the roster has switched their positions if that's the case. Yeah, Saints, of course, no real surprise there. As soon as the Rel was locked in, we knew that Karmar was going mid. It is going to be EDG Scout, going to be picking up that one. Jorge Masvidal, of course, going to be on the Scion. Ehug gets his Kindred again. We'll get to see if it pops off similarly to game number 1. Arlo going to be playing a little bit more of a supportive AD carry this time by, but of course did very well in game 1 as well, alongside Fresh's Rel. So, to be a fun one up here. We'll get to see if this Stonybrook squad can make the comeback here. Otherwise, like I was saying, we're going to possibly have ourselves a bit of a quick one here tonight. With Clammy Boy up in the top lane up against Scion, I feel like it's going to be a wet noodle fight for the most part. Going to have to get a jungler's assist in order to find any sort of elimination. Whisperings on the Lee Sin. Going to be, of course, the first time we've gotten to see the Lee Sin there. Sniff Ninja picking up the Lulu. Now, considering how much of a rough start, so to speak, Sniff Ninja had in game number 1 on the Swain, I do like the idea of just picking the Lulu outright. It doesn't give away your draft position necessarily. And then Lulu is just so safe as a champion overall with just long-range farming ability. If you feel like you're going to get poked out on lane, you have shields. You have a get-off-me tool with that polymorph, and of course, once you hit 6, you do get a bunch of health and shields as well. Or I think it's just health, actually. But still, you have plenty of ways to keep yourself alive there. So if you're not necessarily too confident up against Scout, I don't mind the pickup here. Granted, you're going to be going up against Scout's Karma, which is just going to be constantly just belting out poke damage. So, I mean, time your shields right, and you'll be able to negate the majority of it, but I feel like Lulu will eventually just run out of mana. That being said, though, same thing with the Karma, but still, we'll have to see how hard Scout decides to build to this Karma off the start. See how aggressive it does end up being here. Meanwhile, bot lane matchup here this time by, so far as Nautilus, you got the safety in the beef of Nautilus, but also the safety in the poke from Varus here. So a very similar situation. If you're not necessarily 100% confident, picking something that can let you farm from range, always a fantastic strategy. But they're going to have to be very careful, because if they do get themselves out of position, this Asherelle bot lane will absolutely punish any misdoings. So, too far, you may not even necessarily need E-Hug to come on down there on that Kindred, but it would definitely be the deal sealer if they catch him out of position with E-Hug around the corner. So, definitely a few things to keep an eye on. And then Whisperance, of course, was one of the few players on the side of Stonybrook last time by that was relatively well off the initial brawls. Had himself about, I think it was 4 eliminations, 2 deaths, and 4 assists, so was off to a pretty decent start, but unfortunately just could not find the picks he was looking for. The Saints in game number 1, they kind of deathballed a little bit as 4 for the most part. They left Barlow down bot lane to do his own thing and just farm up, just going on one-on-one up against Yanni. And then everybody else from the Saints was just deathballing. Just getting towers, getting picks, to the point where that Diana in game number 1 just was basically ineffective. And we see this time, like Stonybrook, they could have picked it, blue side, pick 1, but they're just opting, you know what, it didn't work last time. Let's try a completely different combination. We don't necessarily have a Wombo combo. And now that I really think about it, I feel like their damage is going to be kind of lacking the more this goes on. They're going to be relying heavily on Yanni's Varus for damage, because Lee Sin gonna fall off. Lulu, okay, pokes early, but you're gonna be more supportive than anything. And then Shen and Nautilus doing damage, that doesn't necessarily ring true to me. So Saints might just be able to straight up outlast some of these fights if it's going the way that I'm thinking. But of course, we'll have to see once we actually get to the Rift itself. I don't want to make too many quick predictions. But without further ado, enough of my blabber. Why don't we see how this happens in real time? Let's get into the action. Game number 2 between Stonybrook Esports and St. Clair College on its way.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
We might have ourselves an engagement here to start things off here. We see 2 death balls. Saints basically hanging around the mid lane. Meanwhile, do see, oh, they're both actually going to engage on each other. That stun from Clammy Boy did not hit anything. The taunt just goes right into the face of Jorge, and he just meets him with an axe. Is anybody actually going to go down here? Clammy Boy, first blood, and who else but E-Hug going to find the first blood? Flash from Scout, that slowed everybody! Scout going to find himself a kill here onto Yanni as well, and an absolute catastrophe here for Stonybrook to start off this game.
Minions have spawned.
And both teams wanted to invade, and they just straight up run into each other. Absolutely unfortunate there for Stonybrook. And I like the idea there from Clammy Boy. He just went completely fearless, flash taunt, and went straight into the face of Jorge, charging an axe. So that was definitely a problem. And Dinosaur here is in a bad position as well, going to be taking a ton of damage. However, this could turn into a 3-on-2 in just a second. Fresh might be in for a world of hurt here, and that is going to be a counter kill. Yanni's going to pick one up nice and quick as well. So solid job there from the side of Stonybrook to at least answer back, and answer back there on that bot lane, because of course Yanni did end up going down early in that one. I just realized I've got to quickly fix up this this order here. There we go. That's better. Okay. Proceed. Scout and Sniff Ninja just back and forth here, but at least now, of course, Sniff Ninja does have that poke. Doesn't have the shield yet, being able to kind of got level 2 a little bit slower compared to Scout. In fact, still doesn't have that level 2, still working on it. And Scout being able to really abuse that. Finally, Sniff Ninja is going to have that level 2 to get either that get off me tool or that shield. We see Scout does get jumped on. Whisperance going to find the elimination on the Scout. So nicely done there from Stonybrook to be able to answer back both of those kills. Clammy Boy actually winning this duel so far here up in the top lane as well, making that Shen work. So again, we have ourselves another brawly start to this matchup. 4 kills in 2 minutes. We're looking for a tower dive. Whisperance getting maybe a little bit over eager. Yanni down to about 10% of his health. And they're definitely getting feisty here, and honestly, solid job there from Dinosaur and Yanni to be able to really abuse that level 2 lead that they did initially have. Now we see Clammy Boy and Jorge going right back up against it. Clammy going to get the worst for wear as of this moment, but still a relatively even lane here, especially with that extra little shield that we see Clammy Boy using. But here's E-Hug. He's got 1 kill already. Can he add some more? Fresh is going to find himself one here. Barlow getting low, but not enough to take down. Hangs on tight, and it's going to be the 2nd kill now going over to E-Hug, picking up right where he left off in game number 1. Might be a case of deja vu as of this moment anyway, with the way this game is going. The initial brawl in game number 1, of course, like I referenced before, it was relatively even. It was like 2-2, 4-4. And as of right now, it's kind of on pace to do the same thing. However, eventually Saints just absolutely took off. And the fact that E-Hug is already kind of fed here is a little bit scary if I'm here for the side of Stonybrook. You see the kick now into the mid lane. Scout gonna sidestep the Sonic Wave there from Whisperance, and now just right back up to the top lane. Jorge actually getting kind of low here. Gonna answer with an axe. Does have a little bit of extra shield now, and right when I think that Jorge is down in that fight, brings her right back. There we go. Gets the caddy. He's good. Okay, good taunt actually. Clammy Boy. Jorge is going to go down. Can the zombified version of Scion make this work, however? To at least trade it 1 for 1, it will. So, Clammy Boy, solid job getting the kill, but at least there for Jorge and the side of St. Clair Saints, able to just answer it back in that zombified mode and get a couple extra CS for his troubles too. So, Jorge not going to be upset at that in the slightest. But one thing that definitely does interest me in regards to the picks and bans here, we saw Stonybrook. They banned out the Diana, but I'm very shocked that they just didn't ban out the Kindred, to be completely honest with you. With the Kindred popping off the way that it did, at least like from my non-coaching point of view, like to me that's obvious. It's like, okay, he went like 13 kills or something like that in game number 1. Maybe we should force him to try something else. It doesn't do that at all, but hang on a second. We do have another engage here down in the bot lane. Barlow does get jumped on. Fresh trying to slow things down, but that's a good gank right there from Stonybrook. And that's going to get the kill onto Yanni. That's going to be his 2nd elimination here of this game. So after a rough initial start, answers back with 2 and gets himself right back into it. Barlow has himself 4 assists, so relatively even, especially... Actually, no, never mind. Stonybrook might actually be ahead there in that bot lane. Considering you look at the CS numbers here, it is absolutely brutal in the favor of Stonybrook. And they're going to go back down to bot lane once again. E-Hug is down here, though. And a nice flash there as Clammy Boy came in there with that Stand United. A nice hook onto Fresh. Going to force a flash. Yanni finds himself his 3rd elimination. And there you go, Yanni, and there you go, Stonybrook. They are fighting back. And if there's anybody they want these kills on, it would definitely be Yanni. He's the main damage source, I think, of this entire team. And honestly, best case scenario for them. With that, of course, yeah, we're taking a look at here at some of the gold as the top laners just battle it out with their with this wet noodle fight. But if you look at the gold in the brackets, that's a total gold and whatnot that the team's current or the player currently has. Over 3,000 now here for Yanni. Just spent it all as well. Meanwhile, 2,000 there over for Barlow. So just that immense amount of advantage in terms of items purchased means that Yanni is just going to be hitting that much more heavier, like an absolute truck. So you see Jorge getting jumped on by Clammy once again, and Clammy is actually really coming through here with his top lane. Jorge is getting eager. He's trying to wait for E-Thug, and he might actually be able to pull this off here. Clammy might have bitten off a little bit more than he could chew. He's going to try and turn this, and he actually did a very good job to be able to at least get the 1, but he's waited long enough here for a little backup. Whisperance is extremely low. Sniff Ninja as well. E-Hug is going to go down. It's the Saints getting maybe a little bit cocky up there in that top lane. Going to give Stonybrook the even game now, 13.2 apiece. And to be honest, the gold, like I was saying before, it's in the right places here for Stonybrook squad. Granted, Saints also in a pretty decent position, getting E-Hug majority of the kills here in this one so far. But everybody else is a little bit worse for wear. Jorge's not as dominant this time by here on that Cyan, so the Mordekaiser ban might have been a good idea. Whisperins having another good game, has not gone down yet so far. 2 eliminations, 3 assists for him so far. And then this is exactly what Sniff Ninja really needed here. Only 2 assists, not getting taken down, keeping relatively close in regards to CS. So if he was feeling bad in regards to how game 1 went, they're at least keeping close here and not just sending kills over and over. So it's exactly what Sniff Ninja needed to do. The Lulu pick, honestly, big props there for Stonybrook. A solid adjustment in their strategy. And of course, can't go without giving props there to Yanni and Dinosaur as well. As we see Infernal Dragon getting picked up here. Saints are not going to opt to challenge that one. That's just going to get picked up nice and clean. As I do believe, yeah, okay, so instead of going for Dragon, E-Hug did end up going towards the Rift Herald. Probably going to drop it here. Yeah, sure, I'm going to drop it here onto this top lane turret. Try and get as much damage as possible onto it. Get a bunch of these tower plates for some additional gold. Meanwhile, in the jungle, Scout gets caught out, and Sniff Ninja finds himself an elimination. Catching the Karma off guard, so nicely done, and the Saints might have overstayed their welcome. Here comes Dinosaur on the roam alongside Sniff Ninja and Whisperins. Lee Sin already used its ultimate at this moment. Does not matter. It's just going to straight up dive on in, take care of E-Hug, making his reign much less dominant. And the zombified version of Jorge is not going to pick up the kill. So, okay. Stonybrook really coming in clutch here to put up a fight for game number 2. Good little dodge there from Clammy as well. Had that boosted Karma Q made contact, I feel like that might have actually taken him down. Maybe not, however, though. Scout doing solid so far, but not necessarily so far ahead that those Qs are doing major damage. Oh, we see actually Yanni down the bot lane has Dinosaur right there with them, and that's the kind of combo you want to see before the AD carry of the Saints even get back down into their lane. Fresh gets popped. However, going to be answered pretty quickly here. We do see Barlow taking some shots. We have 2 engagements across map here. Nice little snipe there from Barlow to get one, and honestly, nice little snipe there from Scout as well. That being said, though, Jorge is not done yet. Wants to take a piece out of Sniff Ninja, but a good ult's coming out from Sniff. Keep himself alive. Gonna be outranged. No, not gonna be outranged at all, but 1 shield is exactly what Sniff needed there at that last second just to keep himself alive here. Still, no deaths here in this game, but this tower is not going to be long for this world at this worry. As we see Ethug jump on in, pop the ultimates, but Yanni can use this as well. And they're just gonna burst them down as soon as it's done. Beautifully done there from the Saints to try and claw some eliminations back. To be fair, they found themselves the gold lead, even though they aren't necessarily in the lead for kills, but they're finding the gold elsewhere, and is really keeping them in this game, keeping them ahead here in this game, even though it feels like the momentum should be on the side of Stonybrook. The Saints still in an overall solid position. E-Hug, and it's going to be Fresh jumping on in as well. Dinosaur is going to probably go down very quickly, but it's not going to be at the cost of nothing. Does take down E-Hug, and we're going to see Rel flash over. Fresh hanging on tight, looking for the Lee Sin Q snipe, and Whisperins is not going to be able to make contact with it. Fresh had the shield on him as well, so even if the Q did make contact, probably would not have finished off the job. So good on the Saints to back away from that situation. We do see the ults coming in. Jorge charging in hot. Gonna have to back on up here, as that is gonna be Clammy Boy. Use that Stand United, hopping right on in. And that's going to be the Ash Arrow from downtown, from his own tower. Barlow with a massive disengage with that arrow, and they might be able to turn this into a kill. They're going to try and push on the Clammy Boy, but Jorge is going to get sacrificed for this. Can he make something work in zombie mode? I don't think he's going to be able to, actually. And out of this as well, Scout gets caught out as well. So right now, perfect fight here for Stonybrook. Ehug's going to find one, but it's just a matter if they can kill Yanni. If they kill Yanni, they get this fight. Fresh getting poked out, wants to turn this. Barlow does finally show up from the bot lane. This is exactly where they need to be. Ehug still not going in. Lee Sin charging on through. Nice little combo going to finish off Ehug.
Rampage.
And this is just an absolute back and forth here. Good volley, but Barlow is going to flash, but it does not matter. Whisperins is still right there. One more shot will seal the deal here on Barlow's fate. And the Q snipe coming out here from Whisperins. 6th elimination here in this game, with 5 assists on top of that, and this game is now within, or almost within 1K. Well, I tell you what, after seeing game number 1, I would not have expected game number 2 to be this close, and Stonybrook coming in absolutely clutch as of this moment. May not necessarily be in the lead, but 1K difference is not that bad in the slightest here. Objective-wise, they haven't been doing too bad either. We see the Infernal Drake, one already on the board there for them, and they're looking to set up for number 2 here. It's going to be the wind, or no, the Water Drake rather. Fresh is here, but he's alone versus 4. Going to have to use the transformation to get himself out of dodge. Jorge jumps on in, but it's too little, too late. And I don't care how tanky you are. You jump in versus 5, you're probably dead. Now, where is Yanni is all this? Still hanging out in the back. He's kind of stuck in the pit. This gives the Saints the perfect opportunity to jump on in and take him down. Not going to be without cost, however, so one more is going to fall. Scout does get killed, but overall plus there for the Saints, but it could turn into a plus for Stonybrook if they can just stall this game out a little bit more. Yes, Saints now like 2.5k ahead in this game, but 2 dragons in the pocket. Stonybrook is not something that should be ignored. The Whisperins jumping on in, beautifully done. Absolutely destroying Barlow, taking him down. And that's going to be elimination number 9 now for Whisperins. Again, like we've seen him have a fantastic start in game number 1, but could not quite send it through. As of right now here in game number 2, he knows he needs to make these plays early with Lee Sin, and he's been absolutely doing that. Going all over the place, maybe having a little bit, like optimally, maybe could have a couple less kills and just share them over to some of the teammates. That being said, though, it's what happens when you have executes as a part of your kit, so fair enough there. There's big props, everybody, especially to those who have been trying to boost the stream with your channel points, of course, and get this matchup shown to as many eyes as possible. Big thank you to everybody in the chat. Hope you're enjoying your evening here with us for this Dreamhack Beyond matchup. The Rift Herald does get popped on pretty much instantly as soon as it was gone. I don't think Whisperins think he was going to survive that one. Arrow snipe right onto Whisperins. The slow is here. Barlow leading the charge, however, alongside Shelly. Shelly's actually going towards the Saints turret, so that's going to be doing some damage there. Fresh in the swing of things. A good ult's coming out here from Ehug, keeping Fresh alive. And now, of course, Fresh has that shield. Barlow, basically untouched here, has just been absolutely machine gun arrows this entire fight. Dinosaur eventually going to go down. We're going to have ourselves a little bit of a support brawl here. Ehug going to then come in here and interfere with that 1v1 and secure the kill as well. 20 kills apiece here. Saints in the lead by about 3, almost 4k. But again, objectively, Stony Point, why do I keep saying Stony Point? Stonybrook have themselves an out here because of the dragons. I will say in the Saints, this is something I kind of actually gave the Saints hell for a little bit during the last semester's action, where it felt like most of the time they would center around one person to be the carry, so one person would be a threat. And then if that threat goes down, then the fight is basically done. But right now, Saints, they have at least 2 between Ehug and it's Barlow. Both of them could definitely carry a fight on damage if they have themselves the proper positioning. It's good that it's not just a one and done kind of deal here for this team composition. Next Dragon, about a minute 30 away here. You see, like, wisely done here from Stonybrook, actually. Going to clear out all the vision. They know this is what they need to do if they want any chance at winning this game. Try to find a pick or something. They have Yanni here, but again, Yanni is this Stonybrook is what I'm talking about, but at least Esports is so fed it could do some decent damage. We're going to see an ultimate come on down. Where is Sniff? Sniff is going to get absolutely popped here by Barlow. We're going to see Jorge coming in hot there towards that mid turret, but they're not going to be able to take it down just yet. Wave of minions is here. Not going to take it down. Fresh just going to dive on in. Might sacrifice himself, maybe not. Going to hang on tight for just a second. Barlow right on there alongside E-Hug. Finds one. Can he find a second one? That one's going to go over to Scout. This battle is not done though. Whisperings has arrived. Just absolutely roundhouse kicks E-Hug in the face and takes him down, but it's not going to go unanswered. Beautifully done from Scout. Get himself 2 eliminations here in this battle. Tower is going to go down as well, and they can just keep poking here. There's nothing Yanni can do. You can tell he was being so cautious in that fight with how aggressive the Saints wanted to just go right in his face. Sure, he did some damage. He got himself an ultimate off. I think that maybe slowed down some of the members of the Saints, but it was not enough. And now we're starting to see this gold lead here for the Saints just keep on rising more and more. 40K currently in the bank for them compared to 34 on the side of Stonybrook. The Dragon now spawns. Stonybrook, they have to get to respawn, and they have to move quickly if they want to try and stop the Saints from getting this. That being said, though, if the Saints get themselves into a proper 5v5 position, I don't see how they lose the team fight unless some really poor pick ends up happening against their favor. Clammy Boy and the rest of the Stonybrook squad doing what they need to do in regards to the warding. And we're going to see Fresh get out here too. And a beautiful hook actually there from Dinosaur. It's going to force Fresh to get stuck up here. It's going to force Jorge to make his way up as well. But Fresh is going to get killed before this fight even happens. What is the juice on the Dragon? There is the dive through, but it is going to be taken away by E-Hug. He is going to go down rather quickly, however. Jorge hot pursuit, but I think that is going to be zombified mode. Does end up going down. So yes, the Saints get a Dragon, but it was answered with 3 eliminations on the side of Stonybrook. So a little bit unfortunate because that Dragon Soul is now going to be even more stalled away. But the fight didn't go as poorly as it could have, so they can try to answer with some of these turrets. And maybe get themselves a little bit of extra gold. Scout is going to be here. You can poke from afar, but as we can see, Yanni is just absolutely killing it right now with damage. Lots of shots constantly going through. We see Famine Soft or Sniff Ninja right there as well. That tower is not long for this world. And that's one way. That's the first tower that Stonybrook have gotten here in this game. So in all honesty, they can just group up and try to kill off a couple more of these towers. And that will make up a massive difference with how much this gold difference is right here. We're going to see Jorge charge on in here as Fresh does get jumped upon. Some decent damage going to be done to Whisper and sending them to the back. Dinosaur is not going to be long for this world. It's taken down by Barlow and friends. And now that is going to be a Baron. Does Stonybrook want to try and force a 4v5? I don't think so. This Baron is getting melted as well. They're going to have to fight at the inhibitor turrets. Beautiful pick there for the Saints to really just kind of shut down any momentum that Stonybrook may have been building. To back up, get themselves some items. All Baroned up and good to go now, as long as the Saints look to maybe push towards one of these inhibitor turrets. They do have a couple turrets available up in the top and bottom if they want to try and group up for that as well. They have ultimates online. Whisper's looking for a pick, but is going to run into 2 there. Scout was escorted by Fresh, so relatively safe nonetheless. Now here come the Baroned up minions, and they're looking towards mid, at least as of this moment, with the split push of Jorge. An unfortunate whiff here coming out from the side of Stonybrook as well. The ultimates come out, but they don't make contact. Now it does, actually. Yanni gets massive damage on the Scout, and it forces the ultimate, actually, from E-Hug as well. So that is not going to be here, and this is going to be their time to engage. Dinosaur gets engaged on, has the health boost from the side of Swift Ninja as well. This battle a little bit unfortunate here for the side of Stonybrook. Never mind, they're kind of bringing this one back, but the tank line is falling. They're going to try and make it happen. Sniff Ninja is still here, just has to get past Jorge. Yanni is poking him away, but to be honest, that fight went so even that the Saints can't actually make a dent in the structures of the side of Stonybrook. So, in all honesty, this Baron buff is basically done as long as the side of Stonybrook don't get too aggressive. Just get those minions, don't worry about Scout, don't worry about Jorge, just farm it up. And they'll get themselves back into this game in no time, especially with, like I was saying before, still plenty of towers here left in the field for them to take. Just regroup. There's no objectives for maybe about another minute, so they're going to have to go towards a dragon shortly. But still some time for them to do so. See Yanni on his way over there alongside Dinosaur, so they'll start setting that up momentarily. That's kind of funny. I was just watching Breaking Bad. Anyway, moving on forward here with the matchup at hand. Just 50 seconds left before this next Mountain Drake does get onto the field. And honestly, that last team fight there from the side of Stonybrook, they were able to bait out so much from the Saints, or so much value from the Saints before that team fight even had the opportunity to really get moving. Being able to get rid of E-Hug's ultimate, being able to save somebody as the team fight actually goes down, absolutely huge. Forced to blow it early, so that was completely off the table, which means any picks that the Stonybrook squad managed to pick up would be completely free for them to go, basically completely unanswered. So Dragon going to be up in just a quick moments here, 5 seconds beforehand. Dinosaur flashes on over, was looking for something, but not quite going to find the hook that he may have been looking for, but it's actually going to get caught out here. Going to sacrifice themselves for the engage, but keeps themselves alive. Unfortunately, their Clammy Boy in the middle of all of the Saints is going to end up going down. A couple low health bars here. Yanni is one of them. He's all the damage here on this Stonybrook side, and it is going to go down. Whisper's going to try and enter. He is fed, but not that fed. You can't go versus 5. In all honesty, this should be the game here for the Saints to take this in 2-0 fashion. And to be honest, though, props to Stonybrook. They definitely did a much better fight compared to game number 1. But with the team completely wiped and the inhibitors going down and the minions here to help on out, these towers are going down, and that Nexus is going to be sure to follow. It looks like your St. Clair Saints are going to start off this Dreamhack Beyond Collegiate Invitational with a 2-0 victory on the right side of the scoreboard, this time by very dominating fashion. That being said, of course, GG's go across the board to everybody. This is exactly the kind of start that we wanted to see the St. Clair College roster get started off with here. Being able to take a 2-0 is an absolutely fantastic start to this tournament, but there's still, of course, plenty more action to come within the next couple of days here in this Dreamhack Beyond event. In fact, that's why you quickly take a look at our schedule. We'll get to exactly see what we're taking a look at. It might be on our channel, it may not. We'll have to see momentarily as the day goes on, but as right now, currently scheduled, we do have Thursday at 6 o'clock, the next matchup in our Dreamhack Beyond Adventures. But then on Thursday, or Thursday later on in the same day, I mean, if it's another game like this where it was basically a speed run, I think we might be able to squeak in a Rocket League match too for some CCA Summer Series action. Actually, never mind. That is going to be on the CCA's channel themselves. So 2 matchups happening probably at the same time. Lots of collegiate esports action here for our St. Clair Saints. Then on Friday, 8 o'clock, we have one OCRS matchup here on the Saints channel, but we also have another one on the OCRS's channel at 8:45. Then on Saturday, depending on how things go in the group stage here for the Dreamhack Beyond event, we'll be here starting again at 3 o'clock for maybe one more matchup before the actual finals. But we'll have to see how things are lining up nonetheless. before we get there. So if you have not done so already, make sure you follow us here on the Saints Gaming CA Twitch channel to make sure you're caught up with all the updates, and on our Twitter as well, get all the updates for the scheduling, and then make sure you catch all the matches live as they are happening. For any of the matches that are happening on other channels, we'll have it hosted here, so if you do click on our channel, it'll send you to the right place anyway. So make sure that you follow us and catch all the matches live. But an awesome start here again here. Just can't stress it enough. Stonybrook, first off, massive improvement compared to game number 1. I liked that they were able to kind of understand what they were needing to do, where their weaknesses were showing, they then picked safe. And to be fair, they kept it close, but unfortunately, just the overall economic game eventually caught up to them. They were even killing it in regards to eliminations off the start, but unfortunately, just everything else about the game, the Saints were slowly chipping away at that lead, and were able to get a gold lead, even though they didn't have the elimination lead. Again, just going through the feed one more time here with Whisperings. A massive game there for him as well. 10 eliminations, 5 deaths, 10 assists. It was absolutely crazy, but just goes to show how the playmaking potential of Lee Sin eventually kind of slows down once we get into those team fight phases. Unfortunately, wasn't able to quite capitalize. Sniff Ninja, much better laning phase, was basically deathless throughout the majority of that game. Even getting themselves 12 assists and 4 eliminations, but eventually too little too late there, unfortunately. Yanni off to what looked like an awful start, but then completely flipped it around, was winning that lane, but you're so squishy as an AD carry, and you get out of position once, and it's just absolutely curtains for you. Clammy Boy, a much better game up in the top lane there. Banning away the Mordekaiser there from Jorge was definitely a solid choice on the side of Stonybrook, and they're able to keep themselves nice and close. And Dinosaur, a much better game there on the Nautilus compared to the set. But again, if there's anything we can kind of take away here from that last series, is Hug is an absolute monster on Kindred. 13 eliminations, 15 assists, was an absolute bloodbath, and he was basically a part of everything. Jorge Masvidal, as much as the Scion was cool, unfortunately was a little bit slower pace there. Did manage to get a ton of assists though, was a bunch of the, doing a bunch of the engaging rather. And I mean, you're the tank, so I guess if you are the one going down, now in theory, if you're going down and the rest of your teammates aren't, I guess you're kind of doing your job. Scout, solid game there on the Karma as well. 6 eliminations, 15 assists, and 4 deaths. And Barlow doing a fantastic job on that Ashe as well. 11 eliminations with 17 assists, 4 deaths, and kept it a little bit closer compared to what laning phase was looking like, because it looked like he was getting kind of dominated initially off of CS numbers to start off with, but a much better end game there. And then Fresh, of course, not on the Lulu this time by, but picked up the Rel, and you basically wouldn't have known the difference. There's a couple hiccups during the early game, but it still was absolutely all over the place. 23 assists there for him today, with only the 1 elimination and 6 deaths. Solid job across the board there for the Saints. But with that being said, couple thank yous are now in order. Thank you to everybody for tuning in to the matchup tonight. It was awesome getting to cast some League of Legends action here for you all. And thank you for supporting the squad. Whether they were your family members, friends, classmates, whatever they may happen to be, thank you for supporting their esports endeavors. Of course, also thank you to the sponsors that make this all possible, that being Tim Hortons and Subway, St. Clair College itself, the Zechelman School of Business and Information Technology, St. Clair SRC, and the St. Clair College Alumni Association. And with that, we shall be closing out here in just a moment. Thank you again for everybody for tuning in. My name's Dan Banner, also known as Mr. Danners, your host and producer here for tonight, here on the St. Clair Saints Varsity Esports channel. I'll see you tomorrow for some more League of Legends action, and possibly some Rocket League as well. I'll see you then.